Bahrain pre-season testing is finally underway, and on day one, it was Lando Norris who put McLaren on top of the timesheets. He ended the day 0.129 seconds faster than Max Verstappen, with a 1:34.669 lap in the afternoon session. But before anyone starts shouting that Red Bull are in trouble, there is one very important number you cannot ignore. Max Verstappen did 136 laps today. That is almost 2 full race distances, and more than McLaren managed in total. So what does day one actually tell us about McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and the rest of the 2026 field? Let's break it down.
McLaren opened the book on 2026 testing with a very solid day. In the morning, Oscar Piastri set a best time of 1:35.602 over 54 laps. Then in the afternoon, Lando Norris took over the MCL 40 and went fastest of all with that 1:34.669, adding 58 laps to the car's total. That is more than a full race distance around Bahrain in one session, with the quickest lap of the day on top. For McLaren, that is the ideal headline: competitive one-lap pace and a decent mileage base to build on. But as always with testing, a fastest lap means very little without context, and that context starts with Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen was fastest of all in the morning session, with a 1:35.433, well off the 1:29.841 pole time from last year's Bahrain Grand Prix, but that is normal for day one of pre-season testing. The real story with Red Bull today was not the raw lap time, it was the way the RB22 went about its work. Verstappen became the first driver of the day to reach 100 laps and kept going all the way to 136. That is a huge amount of running on a brand new package. And there was another interesting detail. On longer runs, the Red Bull appeared to deploy more electrical power than its rivals over several consecutive laps. In other words, even when they were clearly not chasing a glory run, the Red Bull looked efficient and aggressive in how it was using the hybrid system. By the end of the day, Max's best lap, on soft tyres, was a 1:34.798 during a 7-lap stint, just 0.129 seconds slower than Norris. So yes, Norris and McLaren leave day one on top, but Verstappen and Red Bull leave with a massive mileage bank and a car that already looks very mature in terms of hybrid deployment.
Over at Ferrari, it was a quietly productive first day. Charles Leclerc finished third fastest, with a 1:35.190, around half a second off Norris, but he completed 80 laps. That is exactly what you want from day one: no drama, solid pace, and strong reliability. The big talking point for many British fans, of course, is Lewis Hamilton in red. Lewis ran in the morning session, setting the 7th fastest time of the day, with a 1:36.433 over 52 laps. Nothing spectacular on the stopwatch, but again, this is day one. Ferrari were clearly more focused on understanding the SF26 than going for aggressive lap times with Hamilton. The headline here is simple: Ferrari got through a lot of work with both drivers running clean and no obvious reliability scares. For Lewis, this looked like a straightforward first day of properly settling into his new home.
One of the most interesting names on the timesheets was Esteban Ocon in the Haas VF26. He set the 4th fastest time, a 1:35.578, and completed 115 laps, making him the second busiest driver of the day. For a team like Haas, that combination of decent pace and very high mileage is exactly the foundation they need. It is too early to say they are back, but day one was genuinely encouraging. Mercedes, meanwhile, chose a very low-profile approach.
With all the noise around their power unit at the moment, the works team stayed firmly out of the headlines. George Russell did 56 laps in the morning, finishing 6th fastest with a 1:36.108, about 1.4 seconds off Norris. In the afternoon, Andrea Kimi Antonelli focused mainly on the hard compound, completing 30 laps with a best of 1:37.629. On paper, those times do not look spectacular at all, but Mercedes clearly were not chasing lap times today. They looked more interested in understanding the W17 mechanically and giving Antonelli steady, low-risk running. If you are a Mercedes fan, this was a bland but not alarming day one.
Not everyone had a smooth Thursday. At Aston Martin, the AMR26 managed just 36 laps in total. Lance Stroll did 33 laps in the morning, but after only 3 more in the afternoon, the car was parked. The team reported a data anomaly from the new Honda power unit, and they did not take any further risks. Stroll's best lap, a 1:39.883, left him down in 17th place. For a team with big ambitions under Honda, this was a frustrating start. On the other side, Williams had a much more positive day. After missing the Barcelona shakedown entirely, they badly needed mileage, and they got it. Carlos Sainz ran 77 laps in the morning, more than a race distance on his own, with a best of 1:38.221, while Alex Albon added another 68 laps in the afternoon, with a 1:37.373. The lap times themselves do not jump off the page, but Williams will be very pleased simply to have put that much running on the FW48. Among the manufacturers testing new concepts, Audi stood out. The R26 appeared with a completely different sidepod design from both the launch show car and the Barcelona shakedown spec. In the morning, Gabriel Bortoleto logged 49 laps without drama. In the afternoon, Nico Hülkenberg had a stoppage that brought out the red flag after about an hour, but eventually got back out to complete 73 laps in total, with a best of 1:36.861. For a car in such an early state of development, that is a decent mix of learning and reliability. Cadillac also attracted attention, running in its full two-tone livery, as revealed during the Super Bowl halftime show. Valtteri Bottas did 49 laps in the morning before handing over to Sergio Perez, who added 58 laps and a 1:38.828. Again, not headline pace, but respectable mileage for a brand new entry.
A quick word on 2 other stories from the midfield. Arvid Lindblad, the only rookie on the 2026 grid, completed 75 laps in the Racing Bulls V-Carb 03 before the car succumbed to a fluid leak. For a first official day of testing in Formula 1, 75 laps is a very decent haul, exactly the kind of mileage a rookie needs. At Alpine, Franco Colapinto had a more complicated start. He stopped on track with a problem after turning 17 laps in the morning, bringing out the other red flag of the day. The team eventually fixed the issue, and Colapinto brought his total up to 28 laps before handing over to Pierre Gasly, who went on to set the 8th fastest time with a 1:36.765 over 49 laps. Not spectacular, but at least the day did not completely unravel. So, what do we actually take away from day 1 of Bahrain pre-season testing? Lando Norris and McLaren can enjoy the headlines with the fastest lap of the day. Max Verstappen and Red Bull leave with the biggest mileage and a car that already looks very well sorted in hybrid deployment. Ferrari looks steady rather than spectacular, with Leclerc solid and Hamilton easing himself in. Haas and Williams will be quietly pleased with their lap counts, Mercedes chose to stay under the radar, and Aston Martin have work to do after that Honda-related scare. But this is only day one. Fuel loads, engine modes, tyre compounds and run plans are all over the place. We are starting to see outlines, not a finished picture. If you want to follow the full story of how the 2026 pecking order really shapes up, make sure you're subscribed. We will be here after day 2 and day 3, and then with a full Bahrain testing explained video once we have the complete dataset.